Hello, hello, hello. It is Sid 932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I feel like I have an echo. But thank you so much for joining me. We are here to cover Married at First Sight UK season 10. This is week 4. Y'all know I can't do the everyday thing. I can't. I just can't. It is just too much. Yes, they started us off with 5 episodes a week, and thank you to whoever decided that 4 was enough for a week. Okay? We are going to be covering today, I do believe it is episodes 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay? We had another commit me ceremony. We had spa days, okay? And we had some real secrets get revealed. And there's someone that needs to step to the front of the class and explain themselves because I have questions. I have some serious questions about their behavior throughout this experiment. And now everything they have said, I am side-eye. Okay? Y'all know who we talking about. But we are here to cover, as I said, Married at First Sight UK, and we have tons of couples, okay? And oh, I forgot, another couple left. Or should I say another couple was told, y'all need to go. You're playing in our faces, y'all need to go. Okay? And I think I will start off with that couple. I think I will start off with that couple that was told it is time to go home. And that is Dean and Sarah. Dean and Sarah, at a certain point, Dean, as you said on the couch, you need some self-respect. Sarah says at the dinner table, yeah, I'm not attracted to him. You see, that was my point where I was going to pack up my bags and go home. You ain't attracted to me? There's no spark. There's no sparkle. Then I need to go home. Why am I here? Why am I here to be laughed at, to be made fun of, to be fodder for people? No, 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 no. Dean, that was the time that you pack up. When your friend came and told you last week that, hey, you told her not to disrespect you, and she did. That was when you should have brought your suitcases down, Dean, and start the packing. But after Sarah said that, oh, I'm not attracted to him. Okay, fine. Pack up, let's go home. What I'm not going to do is sit on a commit me couch for her to play in my face. And if y'all noticed, Sarah only said, I think it's time to go after Dean said he would want to go. Because I think Sarah's trying to cover up so she doesn't look like she's being insensitive to him because he's of a heavier set. Because she saw what happened last season. She saw what happened last season to what is it, Tim for the bin? When Tim said, I don't like her. I don't like her. She's not what I ordered. She's not the slim petite blonde that I ordered. And Sarah decided, I'm not going to say go until he says go. But my partner in this kind of crime is here. Oh, hey JR, how are you today? I start
Uh,
off with Sarah and Dean.
I'm well, thank you. Hope you're well and hope everyone else is well out there.
Yeah,
Man, so,
what were your thoughts on Sarah and Dean?
man, it's been overdue. Overdue. The attraction never grew for Sarah at all. And um, Dean, man, the fact that he was actually going to stay this week was quite crazy. I'm glad the expert stepped in and changed both of their minds and told them to, really think about the feedback and then make a serious decision about what they want to do. And they both had no choice but to, realize that they're not going to work. So, well done to the experts for at least stepping in on one couple to do that. But where have you been the whole time? This couple never grew a connection since they met, and it was becoming very difficult to watch Dean every week. And Sarah going to the rest of the group saying things about her lack of connection with him. And then when it comes to on the couch, she's saying, she just needs more time. She didn't. Just needed to fess up, come to the realization that Dean is never going to transform into the type of guy that she was expecting, and time to part ways.
That is correct. I thank the experts for making sure that Dean realized that, this is too much. It's time to go. And he came to the realization of the self-respect. I just didn't understand why he was holding on, considering all the faces that Sarah was making too. And if she's also, as a friend said, you told her, you disrespect me again, I'm leaving, stand on it. Stand on it. Because the other thing is, as I said, just a few minutes ago, you're allowing yourself to be there to be made fun of.
Mhm.
You're giving content and you're allowing Sarah to continue to be on screen. Just leave. But I appreciate that with the experts. I really did, because it's like Dean didn't deserve to continue this. And just as for Dean, I would prefer if they brought him. I would not be opposed to bringing Dean back for another season, maybe 2 seasons from now, and pair him with someone that would appreciate him. Oh, you don't want Dean back? Oh, okay. You better tell me. Tell me.
I don't know, because as well as there being a lack of attraction, he was just making a complete idiot of himself as well. You give him the opportunity to stand in front of people, this guy will invent a song, a rap, something that is very cringeworthy and doesn't endear himself to the people he's trying to impress. So I wouldn't want to see Dean back on the screen, because I suspect he's more cringeworthy than he was this time around.
Okay. Well, you have the final say. That's your people. That's your people from the UK. But say la vie. Bye, Dean and Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. And you could have been gone with Anita and Paul. Um, let's get to the hot seat. You want to get to the hot seat first, or you want to pick somebody else?
Uh, Now we can go in. We can get the hot seat fired up. To be honest,
The hot seat is fired up with Devani and Julia Ruth this week. This is where the secret was revealed, y'all. So while Julia Ruth is telling everyone and us, that Devani needs to be taller. He needs to be, he's yelling at her constantly. Apparently, we are knocking and rocking the boots behind the scenes. Even though they are living separately, they are finding a way to connect. And while she is out with the couples this week talking about, yes, she's having the best intimacy with her battery operated boyfriend and giving us the bzzz sound effects, he has to sit there and take it from the rest of the folks who say, oh, yeah, you ain't getting none. Your wife done said, you ain't getting none. He finally let it out on the table. And she's like, oh my God, I told you I wanted to keep it private. Now, I would get on Devani about saying something publicly that is said in private, but Julia Ruth, you have been using this, you have been talking about it publicly in a derogatory fashion about Devani. So if we're not going to talk about this publicly, we can't talk about it at all publicly. But you have been using his silence against him and creating, as he said, a narrative that disparages him. And I think that is completely unfair. He shouldn't just sit there and take it from everybody, including you, his wife. So while she's saying you should just sit there and take it, I'm your wife, he should not, as your husband, be taking it from you too. I'm sorry. What is your thoughts, JR, about Julia Ruth and Devani?
she has orchestrated one of the worst manipulations I think I've seen on any reality TV dating show. All right, she's gaslit that guy. She's gone to the rest of the group and said many disparaging things about him. She's also told him to his face that she's not attracted to him. Then she's decided to start sleeping with him, but swear him to secrecy while she can go to the rest of the group and basically say that nothing's been happening with them at all. She's basically downplayed any intimacy that they've had between them. So he didn't let the cat out of the bag. That's not what happened. He didn't go about and blurt out that he'd been making whoopee with her or anything like that. That's not what happened. They were in a group setting, and basically each member of the group, because they were divided into all the couples were divided into groups. Half of them went on a spa day, the other half went drinking or something like that, right? The half where Devani was, the particular conversation centered around feedback from the other group members. They were talking about which couples they see making it and which couples they see not making it at all. And most of that group said they did not see any chance of Devani and Julia Rose making it because they have not had any sex or any intimate connection so far, whereas all the other couples have had some in some capacity. Now, Devani sat there quietly while all of the cast members gave their opinion about his relationship with Julia Rose. He took it. He didn't say anything. He didn't say, well, actually, we have been doing more than you know. Didn't say anything. He just went, okay, that's your opinion. Okay, fine. Thank you. Da, 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 da. Now, in the confessionals, that's when he said, nah, this is getting too much. They're all piling on me. So a conversation needs to be had between me and Julia Rose about this, because she's clearly sworn me to secrecy, while the actual truth is we have been engaging in stuff. So when he confronted Julia Rose about it, what did she do? The first thing she went to was, why are you telling everybody? Why are you telling people in front of the cameras? And she's not listening to him because he's saying, I didn't actually out you. I was still covering you the whole time. But what you decided to do was go and trash me behind my back. Julia Rose is on a reality TV dating show. There's cameras everywhere. Even in the kitchen where they're having a conversation, she was gesturing to the cameras where they are placed in the apartment. So she knows the cameras are running all the time. So whether he said anything or not, the producers know that there is activity taking place.
They could just show us the camera of whoever's tiptoeing to whoever's door each night. They didn't even have to tell us a whole bunch. We could have just seen that.
Right. But Julia Rose is ashamed that she's actually been intimate with Devani, who is her husband on the show. They matched, they're together, but she wants to, because she's not attracted to him, she doesn't want the rest of the group to know, and she doesn't want to be judged for saying disparaging things to everybody else, then actually going ahead and be intimate with him, which is a complete juxtaposed position. It's a complete double standard.
I agree with you with that. And, here's where I also side eye her. He was hot. Okay. We agree and we saw Devani was hot. He was hot in his confessional and he was hot at that table. Here's the thing. He didn't yell at her.
Nope.
So, and if you're talking about a man's, inaction, inability, and you're talking about his prowess like this, and it's disparaging, he is going to be hot. So now I'm side-eyeing her with the yelling at her at the honeymoon. Did he really yell at her? Now because of this huge lie, I gotta now side-eye everything she's saying. I need footage of him yelling at her for me to really be, because I was on Devani about yelling at her. Why are you yelling at your wife and it's the first day and y'all in a beautiful place? Da, da, da. So now this, and he is hot about it. And I'm like, is this the yelling or is he just being real firm? He was firm. He was hot. He was firm. He said what he had to say. And he cut off a few times, but I didn't hear any yelling.
No. What happens is when he addresses something directly with her, then she seems to try and portray him as being angry and being hostile when he's just being direct. Now, admittedly, he does use some swear words because of how heated he is, but at the same time, he's not actually shouting at her. He's trying to get his point across. And what she does is she minimizes not only how he feels in the situation, but she minimizes the damage that she's causing to their relationship and their communication by being so abrasive herself. She's very abrasive. She plays the victim card a lot in their interactions. And what was particularly gaslighting about it is, remember, initially they had the conversation where she said, "Tell me about your fears." And he told her about his fears. And then she went, "Oh no, I don't, you're such a negative person. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't like hearing negativity. Man, like you're just depressing. I don't want to be." So she made a big deal about that. In this particular conversation that they're having, she said, "Well, why couldn't you talk to me? I'm your wife. Why haven't you spoken to me? You've already told the guy that you don't want to hear his thought, his deep conversations about things absolutely put you off him. So why would he automatically feel that you're a safe space to come to him, to come to you about this particular situation?" And again, he didn't even go to anybody else to talk about this situation. He's been bottling it up and holding it in. You are actually the first person that he's come to speak to this, to speak to this situation. But yeah, so she's very, very diabolical. If they're not sent home next week, because the experts do watch this stuff, if they, I want to see what happens on the couch, because what she's done is very manipulative, and it's one thing to not like your partner, but even when she was in her group setting for the week, and one of the ladies said to her, "Well, I was speaking to Devani and he said there is absolutely nothing he'll change about you. You're absolutely perfect." Her instant reaction was as if that made her sick, hearing that he thinks she's perfect. Yeah, she's got to go. She's got to go.
The other part of this that I found quite strange about it, and you know, she's talking about Devani, he's yelling at her, he is aggressive, he's this, he's that. Yet when asked what other groom you would like to be paired with or you'd be interested in, she picked
Stephen,
Stephen, who is actually swearing at his wife, throwing a cup across, you know, across the way and calling people idiots and to see you next Tuesday. I mean, even though Devani is using some curse words, he is not as profanity laced and derogatory as Stephen, yet she picked Stephen. I find that quite interesting.
mm, I'm not necessarily surprised that Stephen would be more her type. He's definitely taller than Devani. And I suspect she doesn't really date black men, to be honest with you. So this may be one of the first times she's probably ever done that. And that's because she's on the show. But if she had her own choice, probably would be someone like Stephen that she would be dating. And I see elements of Stephen's crash outs being similar to how she crashes out as well. So she kind of would match his temperament too. The thing that the situation she's put Devani in is she's made it seem like he has no backbone. And that, you know, okay, listen, you do as I tell you to do. And then when I gaslight you and insult you and manipulate you, you're not allowed to say anything about it, because then you'll come across as an angry black man. That's the situation she's put him in.
Yes.
And it's very contrived to protect her image and possibly for future opportunities after the show. Because I don't understand why, as mature adults who've come on this show to get married, you're with your partner, and all of a sudden you're in everybody else's business about what they're doing in their relationships. But when it comes to people asking about your relationship, you want to hide the fact that you've been intimate, but you want to put him on blast about every single negative thing that he does.
Right. That's why, as you know, to go along with Tracy Chappell's response here, she did say she wanted to have fun and Smex was important to her. That's why she laughed at Devani when it was on the lower end of the list, on his list of, you know, values. Especially now since we know they are rocking, knocking boots in the background. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
really sorry.
And do you really want to know the killer, the most fatal blow that she executed on Devani? During their conversation, she said, well, what do you want me to do? Tell everybody that the Smex is crap?
And he said yes. He said, at least you're being honest.
At least you're being authentic. At least you're telling the truth that we are actually doing it. Then you can go into how good it is or how bad it is. But you're hiding everything and making him seem like he's delusional.
Here's the thing. I would have been, how bad is it if you keep coming back?
Well, exactly. Why do you want it if it's trash? And why do you not want him to at least have a fulfilled relationship where there is an intimate component, a communication component, having fun and chilling together, getting to know each other component? Why are you trying to pick and choose what parts of the relationship you can have and what you can't have when you blatantly know he likes you and you don't like him?
Because you don't want him.
End the relationship. Get off my screen. I'm not gonna buy your music after the show finishes. But many people aren't gonna buy your music or watch your dance performances or whatever the hell it is you're trying to build. You're on the show to find a marriage that's going to work, and you trusted the experts because your judgment has not provided the answers and the solutions that you wanted to in the dating market. So now that you've been matched with someone, the way that you've acted towards this guy is heinous, because it's for everybody to see on TV.
And that's what she was running from.
Exactly. She can't blame editing. She can't blame nothing. Right? We've seen enough of her outspoken behavior to know that this is what she considers to be her authentic self is quite inauthentic, and that's why Devani's mad. She presented herself as being on some type of pedestal where she's looking down on him all the time, but what she's doing is contriving an image with the rest of the group to try and look favorable, to try and look like the good person in the relationship, and Devani's the bad person, when really you're diabolical for moving how you are.
Yeah, because as I said, I got to question him yelling and screaming at her. I think when he puts a mirror to her or he wants to address a topic directly, I think is where she runs. She runs away. And I'm sorry, I've only heard her elevated voice. Now, it's for me, the diabolicalness isn't that, people think y'all aren't sleeping together, whatever. You told Devon you didn't want to talk about it. That's not diabolical. The diabolical is you're using his silence and he's respecting your decision to not talk about it. And you're using that against him by creating a story that paints him in a derogatory light. Because we already started it with he's yelling and screaming at me at the honeymoon. Okay, people already side-eyeing him. Now it's more stuff. Oh, I've moved out. Oh, I've this, and I'm not. He is attractive, but I'm not attracted. You see, Devani is a gentleman in that regard. I'm not saying in everything, in that regard, because I would have been on that couch and say I may not be attractive, but why are we laying together? But he's trying to be respectful. He's respectful. He ain't diabolical like us. But let's put it this way. If the tables were turned and the man was the one saying this, and the man was making her feel less than and painted in a particular light, yet he is reaping the benefits of her body, we would be dragging him. Dragging him. So, that's why I have a lot of heat for Julia Ruth in this regard, because I was really on her side. I was like, Devani, you can't be yelling at your wife. You can't be da-da-da. And then now Devani let the truth out. I'm like, now I got to recalibrate my thoughts about the whole thing.
Yeah, no, she been yelling and going off, and she's quite touchy. Saw that from the whole time. Never been a fan of Julia Rose. And also, when the other castmates were going around their group, talking about their experiences in their particular relationships, she got very defensive and very touchy when they said, well, Julia, you're not really attracted to Devani. And she started to get defensive, and she's like, yes, I know, but I've already told him to his face Everybody else here knows. They've heard me say it as well. I don't have to say it over and over again because it's going to come across as mean. It's too late. It is mean.
I
You
think you're I think you're right that she's ashamed that she is, sleeping with him. She don't want nobody to know.
right. She's ashamed that she's actually with him in the relationship. She wishes she was with someone else. When she was asked the kiss, marry, avoid question or whatever it was, there was no hesitation in picking Stephen, despite Stephen's crash out last week in front of all of the group. So she clearly knows who she wants, and it's not Devani. If Nelly and Stephen weren't together, I suspect Julia Rose would be making a play for Stephen.
You sure? Because she could still be on a cheating scandal.
I don't know. I don't think Stephen would go there with her, to be honest.
Okay. Because he going hanging out with her. He telling her all the Z-list celebrity stuff. I mean,
Yeah, don't see
I'm
it.
not sure. I'm not sure. If she's Steven's type, but
No,
I just
probably not.
find her choice to be quite odd. If you are so insulted by Devani being vocal and loud and yelling at you, and Steven has shown you publicly he will do it. Devani ain't
Exactly.
yelled at you publicly.
Nope.
But Steven has yelled and carried on and called the whole group whatever. And that is the man you chose. And you were just yelling at him. You were just saying that, Steven. Come on, man. Steven shared a lot more with you when y'all going out drinking, and you still chose him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely
Yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. Since you brought up the question, which bride would you be you wouldn't mind going through the experiment with so far?
Me?
Yeah, they asked the
Uh,
question.
none. None of them. Not one.
I understand. I was just poking fun at you.
Not a single one. Thank you very much. Wouldn't even be on reality TV.
I know. I wouldn't either, but yeah. So anything else on Devani and Julia Ruth for this week?
I definitely don't see them repairing what's happened. Hopefully the couch will be very very revealing. I hope the experts have been particularly perceptive with this particular interaction this week between the two of them, and also what they've discussed in the group settings. And I expect them to be going home. But if they write stay, if either of them write stay, I expect the experts to do exactly what they did with Dean and Claire, and basically say, listen, there's no chance for you. It's home time.
Well, the experts may say, well, y'all could work on communication.
No, 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 no. Working on communication does not make Julia Rose attracted to Devani. No, it's not going to work. She doesn't like that man. She never liked him from day one. When they met at the altar, she thought he was a handsome guy. As soon as they got to the suite, then it became, you're not my usual type. You're not tall enough. And then from there, the snowball effect of what he's not. There's no coming back. And why would Devani want her back after she's made such disparaging comments and put him in the position he is in on national TV? Nah, that's a wrap.
Also, I think she thinks he's too quiet. But because he's so quiet and calm is why he went for the whole, we won't talk about this, and he's taking it from everybody.
He's given her grace. He said, okay, you don't want me to talk about it on TV. Okay, I won't. But then, again, when he's in a setting with all the other couples and they're talking about, oh, well, I don't see your relationship going anywhere because you have zero intimacy. Most people have at least had some. You've had none. And that made his blood boil because he knows the truth. and he can't say anything because he's trying to be loyal to Julia Ruth. When you go to Julia Ruth's comments, how loyal is she being to Devani behind his back? Not at all. She's making disparaging comments. She's making, throw up motions at the thought of him even liking her. No, it's not good enough. Get her off. Get her off the show. It's done. Sorry, Devani. You got unlucky with this particular match. And Julia Rose, this guy is never going to be who you hoped for. Time to pack your bags and go home. Hopefully, your bags are already packed because you already moved out. There's not much packing to do. Swift exit, please.
What do you think of Tracy's comment that maybe he wanted a real wife and Julia Ruth wanted a TV relationship?
I think he did actually want to try and find a wife. I don't even think she wanted a TV relationship. I think if she did end up with someone like Steven, for example, she would actually possibly want to have a long-term relationship with that guy. Despite his volatility, his outbursts, and all the rest of it. And obviously her outing him for dating someone close to the show and all that. Despite all of that, she said out of all the guys on the show that he is the one that she would marry. Crazy. Don't know about TV relationship. I think she would actually want to make a go of it long term. He is her type.
Hey, maybe they're making a go of it after the show.
Well, they've both been villainized, right?
Yeah,
they've both been villainized. So
both been villains.
If Julia Ruth and Steven got together, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, even if it's just for social media.
Yeah.
Let me just cut through. Davide and Kia, we really didn't have any issues or anything to say this week. They were just collecting and sipping the tea that we were all basically going through. He had the birthday the week before, but Davide and Kia, we have nothing to add for them this week because they were just chatting with everybody.
Yep, no, they just spent their time. This was consoling Nelly, and the other one was trying to rile up Steven. And that's their contributions to the entire week.
Yeah. And everybody chose to stay. It's just that Dean and Sarah were asked to leave. So we ain't even covering who said stay and who said.
Yeah, they had to change their mind because when they both wrote stay, the experts were like, what for? Be realistic, it's not going to work. So you need to reconsider your decision, kind of thing.
Another couple that we really didn't have much to say this week is Abby and John. They are going stride for stride. They like each other very much. John just strikes me as an overly eager beaver, but that doesn't have to be, something bad at all. But there wasn't really much, John asked some poignant questions in his group. And he's just happy to be there, as is Abby. Was there anything at all you saw this week about Abby and John?
They seem to get on well together. They seem to like each other. When they were split, and they went with their respective groups. Which one was it? I think it was Maeve that bit John's head off. I can't think it was her. Where he basically gave an assessment of what he thought he had seen so far from the relationship. And yeah, he immediately got snapped on and had to keep quiet, basically, because he hasn't been there as long as the other castmates.
Right.
So he hasn't really seen them all interact, and he's missed out on a lot of the drama. So he was given his perspective, and he was basically told, just get back in your box. You don't know nothing.
Right. You just got here. Stand back.
Yeah.
It was not very welcoming for John.
No.
As one of the newer ones. Now let's talk Ashley and Grace. Okay. I was like, Grace, are you okay? Grace, are you okay? Because we saw this week that before the commitment ceremony, Grace prepared breakfast and gave Ashley. breakfast in bed, and Ashley did, thank her. And I was like, Grace, I thought you would be pitching a fit about this. About I'm not gonna serve no man. I'm not gonna serve no man, and I ain't gonna serve him in bed, ain't cook for him. I'm not a Stepford wife. Get your own daggone breakfast. But Grace, what happened? Grace brought the strength down in the room. Grace isn't as rare as she was before. What is going on here? And production, okay, putting Joe and Ashley together, barely clothed in the same Turkish bath. I saw what y'all were doing, and I didn't appreciate it. I appreciate seeing Joe, okay, and Ashley, you held your own, brother, but I saw what they were trying to do to you, Ashley. Don't take it to heart. Your ankle looked cute. You had one tattoo while Joe is covered, okay. But what were your thoughts on Ashley and Grace this week? Because I was like, Grace, are you okay?
Mm. Well, I think the Iron Woman, Strong Woman act can only last so long when you start feeling for someone. I think I think Ashley has warmed up slightly in her estimation, and it's got her doing some catering to her man. I don't see nothing wrong with it. She might do, and the people who obviously back the stance where she should be doing nothing, or I don't want to, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't want to be doing this, that, the other for my man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that flies for so long. But ultimately, when you start getting attracted to the guy, then naturally there is some element where you want to take care of him. You want to treat him to certain things, breakfast in bed, kisses, cuddles, all that stuff. So I just saw that as them getting closer to a degree. Ashley spent a lot of time being Joe's wingman, trying to talk him off the ledge. And yeah, so I feel like their relationship at this point is okay. But I have seen the previews, and it looks like it's about to change for the worst yet again.
Yeah, yet again. But yeah, I think you're right, Ashley. I think they put Ashley and Joe together because they kind of like have the similar experiences with their wives, because Maeve was the loud party person, but Grace is loud in a different manner about what she stands for. But I think Ashley helped that he stood there and was able to dissect with Joe that, yeah, you have a lot of feelings for the young lady, but do you really love Maeve? Where's this going to go? He had him dig further into his feelings.
Mm.
But yeah, she's going to resent Ashley for sure. And I don't know if she should be resenting the show, because the show put her in this position. But then again, she should resent herself then, because she signed up for the show. So I mean, the thing is, I think some people have displaced anger. I don't know how Grace, as a feminist, and even if she wasn't a feminist, as someone who don't want physical touch from anyone, would join a show that encompasses marriage and it potentially has intimacy. Even if not, you gotta live with this person. You gotta live with this person in a studio apartment with one bed. How
Definitely.
you don't want to be touched? This is not the place for you. Okay, Love Is Blind may be the place for you, because we all have our own separate pods until we decide to actually meet each other. But again, I really don't think this was the place for Grace. But I'm tired of giving Grace enough grace. Grace needs to be her authentic self and just leave the process. Ashley, you're starting to look a little bit like Dean. You're constantly being talked about, being said something about. And what I don't like is, I don't like the trajectory of the show where they are constantly making um many, not all, many of the men out to be just a bad guy because they are a guy.
Yeah.
But Ashley, I would like to see production. I would like to see Ashley, serving her breakfast in bed next week.
Yeah, you want to see
Oh,
some reciprocation, but
yes.
he's the type of guy that would actually do it. The
Yes.
problem is, if you don't like physical touch, there is something else you can do, which is not get into a relationship. Just be happy, having a few friends, socializing. There's no physical contact, no expectation of intimacy, um, no pressure, nothing. You can just go home, cuddle up by yourself. Don't have to worry about no one touching you. If you want a relationship, especially a healthy relationships have good communication, good levels of intimacy, good level of attraction, trust, stability, respect, a whole host of different things. If you want an intimacy-less relationship, just have some platonic friends. Therefore, their expectations completely removed from the situation. You're not going to be able to come on a show and expect a heterosexual, red-blooded male to not want to touch his bride, especially when he finds her attractive, or love language may be physical touch and things like that. Just don't come on the show in the first place. Be single, be happy. I'm not going to do a KS and say go and buy some cats, but there are other animals out there that can keep you company, like a parrot, parakeet, a goldfish, something like that. But don't choose a man. Be by yourself.
Because at the wedding, you're expected to kiss the bride.
Hmm.
I mean, the wedding, you are asked to kiss the bride.
And in
How are you?
traditional marriage, you carry the bride over the threshold.
How how is this going to work if the first moment you meet the person, it is the expectation of physical touch? I'm not saying it has to be on the lips, y'all. It can be on the cheek, but there is an expectation of a physical touch. Then the photos. This is the 10th season. We are not new to this. We are not new to this. This is the 10th season, Grace. So someone, as Grace said, you don't want to be touched. I respect and understand, but don't put the show in a position and put the person you're matched with in a position that they maybe edit it into a creep because they have an expectation of holding your hand, kissing your cheek, or even hugging you.
Yeah. I don't get why they would want to put Ashley in that position either. If Grace doesn't want to be touched, and Ashley, like I said, is trying to get with a wife and have a proper relationship, Grace needs to resolve that issue. Go and talk to someone. Why don't you want to be touched? Go and unpack that with someone. Yeah. You're asking for something quite strange. A committed marriage and relationship, but no physical touch. That's crazy to me. Be by yourself. It's much safer for you. You don't have to worry. You just, have some friends around you so you're not gonna drive yourself crazy talking to yourself. But there'll be no expectation of physical touch if you're not in a relationship.
Well, Tracy said she would have, like Ashley to have a do-over. I mean,
No.
you you nobody gets a do-over with life is reality. Well, you know what? Because life is reality. You don't get a do-over in reality.
You can reinvent yourself as many times as you like. I'm sure the right person will you know people bring down their walls for the right person. It just happens. When you don't like someone, you put even more walls up and you make it difficult for them to impress you and get close to you, and have a happy relationship. So if your walls are up about certain things, it's a clear indication that first of all, Ashley's not for you. But as I said, the one bright spark was the fact that she was able to, make breakfast in bed and do something romantic. And I see that as progression. If she feels funny about doing something like that for her man, her husband, to be, then yeah, go speak to someone about it.
Well, in a feminist movement, that is actually not steps forward, that is steps backward to be serving.
No,
But
yeah, but in a feminist movement, it's also quite progressive to be single, independent, and do everything for yourself.
Right.
That's not compatible with a relationship.
And that's not compatible with evolution as a species.
Right.
Um, so speaking, you talking about having walls up. Okay, you were talking walls up. I don't know whose wall is higher because Steven's wall is like yay high. Nelly and Steven this week. I find it quite interesting though when they ask about who would they avoid and all of that stuff. That someone said Nelly. A couple
It
of
was
people
Maeve.
said Nelly.
Maeve.
Maeve and somebody else said Nelly, and
Yep.
say, "Girl, because I just can't. You just too much." So
Yep.
I'm like, there's something in the editing we're not seeing about Nelly. We're
No.
sympathetic because we're seeing a lot about Steven. We're seeing a lot of Steven's, behavior on camera. And I'm sorry, Steven to me is getting progressively worse. He's another one that needs to just leave. Because while we're there and we're calling people out their names and all kinds of stuff, again, this is time out, time to go. But something is up. What perked my ears was that when they saying about Nelly, then Nelly had her moment. She left, she walked out, and it was too much for her. And they had a meeting in the restroom. So what were your thoughts this week about Nelly and Steven?
First of all, they both had something very much in common. In their respective groups, they were the only couple that got heated and stormed out from the feedback that they were receiving. Out of all the couples, Stephen and Nelly were the only people to get up and leave the group because they couldn't handle what was going on in the group setting with pertaining to their relationship. Now, I don't think it's editing with Nelly. I've seen quite a few things, and I think the group have decided that she's quite needy, and she's quite outspoken. And Maeve basically said, I couldn't deal with you. I'm sorry. And Nelly said, okay, that's fine, this, that, the other. But then it got very chippy because Maeve started to dig deeper into what she thinks about Nelly. She said, Nelly, you don't know how to stand up for yourself. You don't confront things when they happen. You seem to bottle it up and hold it in and then try and lash out in some capacity after the incidents happened. And that's what made Nelly cry, because she was like, no, well, I'm not you. I'm sorry, I'm not you. I can't do that. That's just the way I handle things. And she got up because she felt she was getting piled up on, ganged up on, and stormed out. She'd been attacked. So I think Nelly can dish it, but she can't take it, basically. And with Stephen is a volatile character. And what makes Stephen go off is when he feels that his feelings are not being respected and heard. So when he was being called out by the rest of the group about how his behavior has been, the first thing he said was, I hold my hands up. All the feedback that I heard, I hold my hands up. Yes, it was me, it was my problem, and I'm going to have to sort my way through it. The group then proceeded to start one by one chiming in and prodding him and attacking him when he's already said, I take accountability, it was my fault. They want him to take even more accountability than he's actually taken. Now, then he said, when I was on the couch with the experts, they didn't want to listen to my side. They automatically sympathized with Nelly and shut down my feelings on what I wanted to say. And now you guys in this group setting are doing exactly the same thing. So you know what? I don't want to talk to you no more. This conversation done. It was Lee in particular, prodding and provoking, standing there going, well, no, because we're not attacking you, this, that, the other. Yes, you are attacking him and you're trying to get a reaction out of him. Then when he snaps, then it's like, oh, well, we didn't really do anything, did we? Yes, you did. You didn't allow him to, first of all, get his thoughts and feelings out about the situation and actually respect what he had to say. Everything was a comeback. Everything was a Okay, yes, but you seem to prioritize your feelings above Nelly's. That's what they were doing to him. So I can understand why he just said, you know, I don't want to talk to none of you no more because you're not listening. But I will say that Stephen has a problem with his temper. That type of volatility where he'll go from rolling his eyes, the other mannerisms he displays, and then he snaps. That needs to be worked on immediately. Do I think him and Ellie are going to work? I don't think they're going to work. I think they continue to get under each other's skin. She's going to continue to feel like she's not being heard, and he's going to feel the same way. The other thing I noticed is when Nelly said she feels guilty because when the experts were talking to Stephen about his behavior, yes, he's done all the things that they said, but at the same time, she didn't give context or defend him in front of the experts. And she feels really guilty for that because she knows that when they get back together in close proximity, that is going to be a wound that Stephen is going to be hurt by. Because the one thing that he also said is that we made an agreement that we would have each other's back when we are, you know, in this experiment. When we sit down with other couples, when we sit down with the experts, we're going to have each other's back so that we're not blindsided by things that we've told other people. And he feels like she's violated that 3 separate times. So that's the other source of their frustration.
We never had a family visit with Stephen, did we?
No, I don't think we did.
We didn't. We saw Nelly's family, and that also is another pile on. But here's the only tweak or a little bit of pushback I would have with that is that the way Stephen describes it, it sounds like, as you said, you know, yes, I take responsibility. It sounds like I take responsibility, get off my back. I don't want to talk about this. But he's done this quite a few times with Nelly. So that's why I think people are saying, I don't think you've learned or you're capturing what you did. Yes, you're sorry, but it happened again. I think that's where, you know, yes, you know, I'm like, sometimes Lee comes off as real harsh to me, but I was like, Lee had the right message. Maybe wrong messenger, but she actually did say it like, yes, you effed up, but I don't think you know exactly where you went wrong. We're not trying to dismiss your feelings. We're just trying to show you, just like the experts were trying to say, you're deflecting. I don't think he's addressing this is the root of it. This is the behavior pattern with Nelly. This is the behavior pattern. We're not dismissing your feelings, but he feels dismissed because here's what I think would be best if you address Stephen's emotions first. Address his emotions first. And then you address, hey, turn that around, and how could you better be there for Nelly through that?
Yeah.
I think that's where he does feel dismissed, and I could understand how he feels dismissed. I could understand, you know, sometimes, you know, it's him. He's a parent of 2. Your needs are sometimes put on the back burner a lot because you're a parent and that's how it's supposed to be. But then it bubbles up when you're like, okay, I got this show, I got this, I got Nelly is new to me, I got a stepfather that's sick. I understand all of that. But again, he will need to learn how to manage the weight and the pressure of life. This is what is happening right now. So yes, I think Lee had the right message. Except she's like, I don't think you understand where you went wrong on the route. And she was trying to say, but I don't think she's the right messenger because I think Stephen sees, as you said, Lee as coming at and attacking. But I think she was like, listen, I understand how you're seeing this. Let me bring you to the fountain. And I think he just was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore, you know. And then the throwing of the cup, Stephen, if you want people to cater or understand your feelings, this lash out ain't gonna really help them.
Yeah, no, I don't think Lee is the right messenger, and I don't think she, of all people, is in a position to give the right message. She particularly cold to her partner. So no. Listen, If I was Stephen, I'd be like, Lee, please be quiet because despite what you've got to say, your relationship has not even started yet with Leo. All right. So no, mind your business, please. I've said this on every show. There's always one or a few people who their house is not in order, but they feel like they can give the moral high ground onto how other people should conduct relationships. Lee, mind your business. Stephen, I don't. It is partially because his feelings are being diminished. I think that's a lot to do with it. But I also think that the time that they spend talking about Nelly's feelings really grinds his gears because he does not get time to express his side of the relationship and what he's been going through. And I can tell you, that's going to be frustrating. It's not Nelly only in the relationship. And then everything Stephen does gets called out. That's how it seems to him. Whereas when he has things that he expects or how he wants to be treated, there is zero time spent on that at all. So
But
as I said,
is he saying that? We have not we're seeing his
yeah,
outbursts about how you're not taking my feelings into account. But
yeah,
has he said it? Has he
yes,
said
yeah.
what when?
He said it on the couch. He said, "Why is it that every time I express my feelings and how I'm and what I'm thinking, it automatically gets shut down?" So he was actually expressing something, and then everyone's piling in and interrupting, talking about, "Yeah, but what about Nelly?"
That's not the part that I meant, but I understand why you would catch that. What I was saying is because of all the drama and the behavior, we can't get to a point of Steven saying, "Hey, here's what I need from you, Nelly." Okay? Because the thing is, here's what I understand with Steven. He has a precious stepdad. He has 2 kids at home that he cannot really see on a regular. He has a new wife. Now the new wife is injured and he got to be there to support her. We have not heard what Steven would like out of this marriage. We can't even get there. Like Steven is like, "Hey, Nelly, I just need you to just hear me and listen to me and rub my back while I go through this pressure on the outside." We have not heard what Steven needs because also when it comes time, let them, Steven, my advice is let them fizzle out and talk about what Nelly needs. Let them fizzle out and say it. Said, "Okay, I hear you. I understand you. I hear what Nelly needs. Can I tell you what I need from Nelly?" That's where I think you're right. He gets so amped up that they keep on saying what Nelly needs, Nelly needs, Nelly needs. They are not. He's not present. First of all, he gets amped and then he leaves, and he's not able to even say what he needs in the marriage.
Well, any conversation should be two-way, right? When it's a one-way conversation and you're saying, "Yeah, but what about what you did? And what about Nelly? And what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that?" Anything he says will be seen as a deflection, or he's trying to change the subject, or he's belittling Nelly's feelings. That's the position that they've placed him in, and I can see why he's frustrated. But at the same time, like I said, he does have an anger problem, and he does have his stepfather or whoever it is, does have the outside pressures that he's thinking about the kids and all these other different things going on. Nobody cares. All right, they're not interested. They don't ask him about those things. His partner, I don't even know how much they discuss those things. It's this from what we're seeing, maybe it's the edits, but everybody, the experts, the group, everybody's more focused on Nelly and how she feels in a relationship. It's not about how Stephen feels at all. So that's where the problem is, and that's why they're not going to work. Because he doesn't like, I don't think he wants to be the center of attention. I just think he wants equal validation for what their experiences are in the relationship. And he's not going to get that.
I agree with you. I don't think he wants to be the center of attention. I think he just wants to be heard. He wants to be
Exactly.
heard, and he wants, to not be cut off with the hearing. But
Right.
again, he has to understand the audience and where you are, because again, it's almost the same like Devani. When Julia Ruth came back and was saying Devani yelled at me, da 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 da, the group kind of like looked at him. The group looked at him, but Devani never showed that type of behavior to the group. Okay. And so he was able to be heard by, members of the group. But when Stephen is expressing his frustration, it's
Mhm.
when people stop listening to him because he starts, using that, derogatory language. So it's something that he would have to address, like, let them fizzle out and say what they got to say. And then ask when you're on that couch with the experts, say, hey, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like I'm being minimized at this moment.
Mm.
Because when you jump up and say, well, what about me while in the midst of talking to Nelly, it sounds like you're not even like listening to what is said with Nelly.
Mm. Yeah, and the other thing is, we speak about respecting boundaries and things like that quite a lot on these type of shows. If someone says, I don't want to talk about it anymore, or okay, you said what you need to say, I don't, I'm out of this conversation now. That's it. You respect his boundary and you say no.
Right.
We've already seen him get volatile. So if you keep prodding and provoking him after he's already told you, listen, I've had enough now. Let's just drop it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't know what more he needs to say, right? He gets up, storms out, throws the glass on the way out. And Lee said, oh, yeah, well, why don't we all just go outside? And he said, no, you stay here. I'm trying to get away from all of you. And they actually took offense, like, oh my God, I can't believe he doesn't want us around him. What do you expect? You keep piling on him. And then when he does come back calmer and more relaxed, he sat down, said, okay, listen, I apologize for that or whatever. But let's just move on. Let's not just not talk about me and talk about the relationship. Just talk about everything else.
Based on, Tracy's comment here, where the group tells him that he needs to compliment Nelly more.
Mm,
Um, it's a case of, for me, that, and I don't know where the shift happened, even before his first blow up. The group is telling him what Nelly needs, and nobody's asking, what does Steven need?
nope, not at all. Nor are they saying to her, Nelly, why don't you try doing this with Stephen in the hopes of getting closer to him? No one's even giving her that type of advice. They
No.
see her as a sympathy case.
Yes. And she
Yeah,
is not.
exactly.
She's not. She is part and parcel of it, because again, Maeve said, you are just too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Nelly getting an excellent edit. We're not seeing a whole lot
Nah, she's
at
definitely
all.
needy. She definitely needy. You could see from their early interactions, there were certain, like every question she was asking him, it was almost to back him into a corner where he had to say yes or no, we're not meant to be together. Those were the two options. But
And for me, where did it turn? Because honeymoon to moving in together, it took a sharp turn.
yeah, it should. Yeah, because I think he's a lot more self-centered than he initially came off. I don't think he's as attracted to her as he initially was when he saw her at the aisle. Maybe it was the theatrics, the pomp and circumstance of her entrance on that chariot or whatever it was. But once all of that wore off and he got into real world with her and got to know her, I think he's gradually started losing attraction to her. And then with all the nitpicking and nagging from the rest of the group, it's turning him all the way off. So I don't think he enjoys being painted as the villain. But she's getting a lot. She's basically got like every single cast member plus the experts as agony aunts and agony uncles about her relationship, and he doesn't have no one except Ashley, who followed him out, to try and calm him down. So yeah,
Right.
it's just very. I think he's upset because the experience is heavily biased towards Nellie's experience and how she feels, and he doesn't get the same rub at all.
And I think it was wise that Ashley, because Ashley knows how he feels, because Ashley was in that same position. Because when Grace paints a narrative of Ashley telling her what to wear, telling her what to do, he had to speak up and say, whoa, 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 whoa. I knew where we were going. I was trying to tell her what to wear in order to fit the dress code or to fit the evening I was trying to have with her. So again, I think Ashley totally understood what Steven was going through. But as you said, it catered to the ladies. And I think, Nelly being injured too doesn't help the situation. But I'd like everybody to take a breath and take a step back for a moment. Steven is volatile. Nobody should have to deal with that. We know why he's still there. They're hoping that he keeps on getting prodded so he has outbursts so it can be filmed and put out there. But I would like somebody to take a breath and say, Steven, how are your needs being met in this relationship? And how can your needs be met in this relationship?
Mm. The problem is, as soon as they ask him that question, and he goes, well, and then it goes, yeah, okay, that's it, Stephen. We don't want to hear no more. Nelly, how do you feel? Well, I was just, Nelly, your turn.
That's probably it. Steven, if you can't be heard, okay, you may need to, write leave and get the heck up out of there. Okay, get the heck up out of there.
Yeah,
I think he
Stephen
was
got to go
okay in the
home.
beginning because he didn't know how much you would need, but because Steven is such a jerk, it's hard for us to see Nelly. Yeah, it's hard for us to see Nelly, but Maeve certainly helped me see Nelly. Is there anything else you'd like to say about these
Yeah,
two?
no, I've seen too much of Nelly, to be honest, and I've seen too much of Stephen. So, again, I think this is a couple that should really be thinking about packing their bags and going home.
Right, definitely. So speaking of that, Maeve opened my eyes to Nelly. Let's go to Maeve and Joe. Joe came to an epiphany this week that maybe his feelings ain't as strong as he made it out to be in that initially on the couch. And Maeve feels like she is, losing herself a little bit because she doesn't recognize the calm, chill person that she is. That ain't her, but that's who she is this week. What were your thoughts? I know Joe had his, bro talk with Ashley, and then Maeve was letting everybody else have it in the group setting. What were your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Another volatile relationship. Unfortunately, people think volatility means love. So Maeve has another session of storming out, very similar to what Stephen does as well. Gets amped up, decides to storm out and leave. Joe decides, you know what, I can't do this no more, man. This is too volatile, too many ups and downs, too many arguments. We only known each other 5 minutes. So instead of staying in the apartment by himself, which he doesn't have to do if he doesn't want to, right? He left to go and gather his thoughts, take some time away. Maeve decides to come back from her tantrum after walking out on him, comes back, sees he's not in the apartment, and then starts to take issue with why he wasn't there. So she gives him a call. I just thought I'd check in on you to see if you're all right. He said, yeah, I've just got so much going on now. As you know, I've got external things going on. But really, I think he's just like, look, another argument, more volatility. I don't think he's attracted to that side of her, the volatility aspect. So he's questioning whether, they're meant to be. And he said to Ashley as well, that, he doesn't necessarily feel like it's going to go the way he wants it to go. So I think Maeve's attraction to him is really at the core of why their relationship is still together at this moment in time.
I think it's a lot and it's exhausting if you have someone. This is like from what we have seen. The second or third time Maeve has had an outburst and left him.
Yep.
We saw it at the honeymoon, and now we
Mm-hmm.
see it here. And I forgot. I thought there was another time, but I may be mistaken.
No, I think there was.
That can be exhausting.
Yep.
I have to. You had a tantrum, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You left. Now I have to sit here and wait till you self-soothe and come back. No, Joe also has his own emotions he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
He has his own. He's like, I can't deal with this. I can't have this. And then he's going to leave.
Yep.
So I'm not going to sit around and wait till you deem it's time to come back for us to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk in the midst. It's okay if Maeve needed some time. But even in this, y'all, we need to communicate. Joe, I'm hot. I'm hot. I'm mad. Give me 1 hour and I will come back and we can have a civil conversation. But when we stomp off and we leave and give no information to our partner, how are they to know we even coming back? One, or they're in their own, how do they call it? Hurricane or storm in a teacup. They're having their own whirlwind from the inside. And because we don't know each other, we have to speak. So yes, Maeve can go off. She can, meaning go away, get mad, go away, but she has to tell Joe something. The man can't just sit there and say, well, maybe she'll come back tomorrow. But then if he does that, folks are going to be like, well, Joe, ain't you got a backbone? Why are you going to just sit there and wait for her to come back? Ain't you got anything to say? So he decided he went to the spa with Ashley, but he did not go anywhere else. Joe unpacked with Ashley and Joe packed some of his things and went home. So again, I think this is one of those where, people talking about spark, they were sparking. They got real hot and heavy. They got real the love for each other. And I do think they have love for each other, but I don't know if they're in love with each other.
No.
And I would hesitate to say this, especially since there's a child involved and you have not met that child and that we know of, because we noticed the edited show, and y'all are living so far apart. How is this even going to work? So I would have been on the Bailey train like, hey, I'm heading on the way to love, but we got a lot of things to work out. But this is a case of they just, burn real fast and whatnot. And as Tracy said, the family popped the bubble by saying, hey, how's this going to work on the outside? But yeah, I think they are in love with the idea of each other because Maeve doesn't want to be party all the time anymore. Joe doesn't party anymore. He's more calm and collected. He wants to be a family guy. So again, they could, if they would communicate and they would both make some adjustments, this could possibly work because, hey, nobody called each other out their name. Nobody has been really insulting that we saw. But it can be exhausting if you have a partner that just gets hot and leaves and you've got to wait around till they come back around. I mean, if this was a man, wouldn't we be dragging Joe? If Joe was getting antsy and da-da-da-da-da on Maeve and then just leaves her, we'd be dragging him.
Yeah, I mean, we drag Steven and we drag anybody else who has an emotional outburst and gets up and storms off or, gets amped up like that. But yeah, it is exhausting. Maeve has a child and she's the one that keeps crashing out and storming off. And yeah, I don't blame Joe for questioning, is this even going to work? They haven't had much conversation about the outside world and what that looks like. That's also quite telling. But yeah, there's a couple of things that are just common themes that, like, I don't know when it became normalized for people to get mad, cuss the person out or storm off or hang up the phone or leave or whatever. And then the other person is just expected to just sit there and twiddle their thumbs and wait for them to come back. Like, no, life moves on. If you don't want to be here no more, keep walking. If you do want to come back and resolve this, yes, we can make it work. We can mend bridges and all of that stuff. But if it's a repeated pattern where every time you don't get your own way, you want to leave, you're not showing me the stability and the respect for the relationship, because you can't do that. You have to stay together and try and work through your issues, communicate effectively. And communicate doesn't mean you just talk. Communicate means you listen to try and understand and try and mend fences. But no, so I don't blame Joe for having second thoughts. Don't even blame Joe for wanting to clear his head and get out of there. Definitely don't blame him for not being there when she got back. He was respectful when she did call him. He wasn't angry. He just said he needed. It's not. He even said he even went so far as to say, "It's not you and your behavior. It's just me. I need to just process things. I just need some time away and I'll be right back. It's not you though. So he's even given her grace, even though it was her storming out that led to him wanting to get out the apartment. So yeah.
And she got really hot about it because he said, she, getting her nails, lashes, and all that stuff done. I don't see Joe having that kind of derogatory tone. Like, she made it sound like he's like, you're looking like a slob, you need to get things done. Um, Considering what's happening this week, they were filming outside, they were going out. I could see somebody saying, somebody like Joe or Ashley or any of the men saying, hey, we're gonna be filming a lot outside, we're gonna be doing a lot more, on-site things. You want to go get your lashes, nails done and everything because we ain't staying in the house filming anymore. I can see that. But again, it sounded so much like Grace to me. So I agree with you, Tracy, in the chat that Maeve kind of gave me a little Grace thing. It's like, he told me get my lashes done, get my nails done, and and my hair done. And it's like, baby girl, we're watching the show. We're watching the show. We see you in constantly in a ponytail. So if you want to do something different, it's like, okay, nails here, you're going to be outside drinking, they're going to be close-ups on your hand, okay? Your lashes, you ain't going to be wearing your glasses to hide behind it. I can see Joe saying, hey, you're going to need some time to go get all this stuff done. I'm going to be simple. I just need to shave, my head down to a shadow. But again, it was so impactful for me. I knew something a lot happened because he didn't even go in a separate group where he wouldn't even see her. He had the time with Ashley and he did not show up for filming in the other group he was supposed to be in.
No.
He just took that time to leave. So I'm like, it wasn't even, he was understanding on the honeymoon. They talked and he was calm. He was cool. Everything. Also, he couldn't really run very far, but he ran all the way home with this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Maeve is definitely insecure. And that's why they had the hold the mirror up task where she can look into the mirror and compliment herself. And I definitely think she hides behind the loud, brash persona to mask the vulnerabilities that she has inside. But again, that can be a lot to deal with. If you're meeting her for the first time, trying to have a relationship with her, and her personality is like that, and she storms off when she doesn't get her own way type thing, she just throws tantrums. Yeah, that's not really a good space to be if you're a guy. It's not.
No, it's not.
Also, Joe was not saying to her, I don't like how you look. Go and get your roots done. Go and fix yourself up and look presentable. That's not what he was saying. He was saying, go and treat yourself. Go and pamper yourself. That's pampering. In our community, if I turned to my girl and I said to her, babe, go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. Go buy a new outfit. In our community, I'm thinking 9 times out of 10, she's gonna go, oh, really? Great, I'm gonna go do it.
Give me a card. Come on. Hey, hand it over. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. It's gonna be all day.
Right. So Maeve, that must be some type of trauma response where you're like, he told me what to do. He told me what to wear. He told me what to dress. He told me da-da-da. That's how she spun it to the rest of the group. He didn't. He wasn't making orders and demands of you in an aggressive way. He was saying it in a way to, go and spruce up, look your best, because we're going to be shooting in a different setting. And she just took it completely the wrong way. And I think that's just exhausting. And that's,
But notice the group didn't really jump at the bait she put out because they all kind of know Joe.
They went,
yeah.
Maeve, we've seen you over the last few weeks. You are too much. Joe is a cool, chill guy, and you're doing too much all the time. That's what they thought.
So is Nelly
no one talked her down. No one supported what she was saying.
Right, because if Nelly too much, she definitely too much as well. So she recognized like. Tracy said, "Don't threaten me with a spa day."
Exactly. That's it, Tracy.
But I
I
think I think I think what could sometimes grate people's nerves. Let me give, a pun intended. Let me give some grace to Maeve. Um, she doesn't know this man. Okay, she doesn't know this man. She doesn't know his tone. She doesn't know what manner in which he is doing this. But this is why we need to ask. You need to ask Joe. Why are you, telling me I should have a spa day? Are you finding me unattractive? You should speak up. Because sometimes we get into our comfortable mode, and sometimes you gentlemen don't like to see the comfortable mode. I ain't saying she wearing bonnets and other stuff, but sometimes we're in the comfort, and it may not be as attractive because this man is new to you as well.
listen. As long as she bathing every day, right? Then you can be as uncomfortable as you like, but you must go and bathe and keep yourself to a nice standard. All right. Like you
Not
said, you don't know me long. So don't be crashing out and having tantrums. We don't know each other like that. I'm trying to see how you are so we can connect. So you're supposed to put your best foot forward all the time, not be
not
crashing out. God,
not the minimum is bathing every day. I'm talking about, yes, she is bathing every day. Proper hygiene
we
is
don't know
being
that.
met. Okay.
We don't
Well,
know that.
I'm going to assume I will be projecting on her. Okay.
Well, I'm not
I'm
going to give that the benefit of the doubt because I know there are cultural differences. And when we say that we are relaxed around our partner, how long have they known each other though? You just said they don't even know each other long like
I'm
that.
saying relaxed in that the type of dress. All I keep seeing her in is like sweats and sweatshirts and
That's
stuff like that.
that's the dead giveaway about the bathing every day,
What
right?
do you mean? I wear sweats.
Yeah,
I
but
have
you're not.
like 50 million types of sweats.
She doesn't. We're all seeing the same sweats. The same roots, the same sweats. What are you talking about?
She can have 10 of the same color.
Come on. Listen, this production team got a wardrobe. If she's stuck for things to wear, then go to the wardrobe. Say, listen, my stuff needs to be washed. Can I have one of your outfits, please, just for this scene?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is too funny. That is too funny. It is. Yes, it's the same type of sweats. It
Yeah,
is the same
and
type of sweats.
you're dressing down for your man already. That's fine. He's gonna see you like that anyway. But
He
it's the
got
crash out.
to.
Yeah, it's the crash outs that I don't like. It's too volatile, man. You only just known this guy 5 minutes. And how many crash outs have you had in a short space of time that you've known each other?
Right, right. Though
That's concerning.
that was funny. I will project on personal hygiene, but I understand what you're saying. Okay. Okay. Okay.
We're taught that cleanliness is next to godliness in the Caribbean.
Mm,
Just saying.
yeah. And I have a young lady named Twyla 310 who is a subscriber. She sells, all types of, body oils and everything, and I'm telling you, I don't buy it in the store anymore. I only buy her stuff. And since Mr. El Cid loves it, she gonna keep on having a repeat customer.
Wow, that spa
But
day money is going on them products.
right, it's amazing. He even now buys it for himself. Okay, he gets it for
Wow.
himself. So definitely. So if y'all ever see Twyla 310 in the chat, y'all, thank her for having us, as Unfiltered Doll Reaction says, is smelling good and looking good every day.
There you
Is there
go.
anything else for Maeve and Joe for this week?
I'll just say Joe just needs some Veet and he's good for that hair. And that's it really.
Hey. Joe, we
Get the
need you to come. We need you to come back, even if it's just to write leave. Okay, even if it's just to write leave. I don't think they're gonna make it.
no, I don't have one. Two
Okay.
opposite.
Speaking of two opposites, Leah and Leah.
Mm.
Lee was in rare form this week, just pointing at everybody. You, and you. We know you ain't doing. We know. Yeah. Tracy, you could ask your question about Maeve. You, and Leah trying to make Leah think that, she even has a chance. But here's the thing, and this is what I really didn't like about this. Leah is complimenting Leisha,
Yeah.
and she is complimenting Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yet Lee takes umbrage with it. Okay. And for me, considering that these other two women are in a heterosexual relationship,
Mhm.
I don't get the drama that's being contrived. I
Mm.
don't get the drama being contrived. It's almost like if, she's like, "Oh, Leah is trying to get, pull these women into her web," said the spider to the fly. It's like, even if Leah found these ladies attractive, they are not for her lifestyle. So she's not. She doesn't even have a chance.
Whew.
So I really don't like this narrative that's being trying to be portrayed on this television show. It's like she can't just compliment and be, talky and without trying to switch brides. What is Lee trying to say?
Okay. I have a question for you, Elsie.
Okay.
Lee and Leah are in a same sex relationship, right?
Right.
When they played the game of marry, kiss, avoid, who did Leah pick that she would marry?
Wasn't it Rebecca? Was it
Nope.
Rebecca? Who was it? I forgot.
Wasn't even a woman.
Okay. Go ahead. I forgot who it was.
Was it Reese? Yeah, I think it was Reese. Yeah, it was Reese, I think. She picked
Okay.
marry Reese. Yo, for someone who's in a same sex relationship, that was quite interesting. Why would you pick a man?
She had to. I'm sorry. She had
No,
to. Because if she
no.
picked any of those women, Lee would be shooting daggers at that
Lee's
woman.
not there. Lee's in the separate group.
You really think Lee ain't gonna hear it? Come on now.
No,
Lee gonna say, "Oh, see, I knew she wanted to marry Rebecca. I knew she
no,
wanted another wife."
no, no. Don't think so. Um, why? Because I think that Lee is not even attracted to Leah in the first place. She's just possessive over her and controlling, but she's not attracted to her. Lee has this disposition where she doesn't want Leah, but she doesn't want anyone else to have her either. That's what Lee is giving to me. Leah, I think um, she's tried to get close to Lee and has realized that Lee has so many walls up. And again, if you have so many walls up, it generally means that you're not attracted to a person. Your walls come down. Doesn't matter what they are. You like someone enough, the walls are no longer exist. And with Lee's behavior and the things she said as well, her attitude as well. Oh my goodness.
From the
Um,
wedding night.
yeah, all of that. Um, yeah, she's delusional, she's rude, she's hostile, and she thinks she can tell other people about their relationships and how to conduct themselves. Very judgmental person. And I think Leah is finding all of this exhausting because she's like, I'm giving this girl a chance. But realistically, she would be attracted to Alicia or any other
Rebecca.
woman. Yeah, even
A
Rebecca.
chill a
Yeah,
chill lady.
exactly. Even possibly a Maeve. She would be attracted to someone who is a lot more open with their feelings than Lee is. Lee is just basically a stubborn brat. If she
Mm.
doesn't get her own way, if you don't say something how she wants it to be said, if you don't do something what she wants you to do, then she gets into a sulking mode where she'll go off and say, no, I just don't want to be by your side. I don't want to be with you. I'm going to go away. I'm going to do this. And that's rejecting your partner. And there's only so much that someone like Leah is going to take before she starts to think to herself, you know, I could have a better relationship elsewhere.
But it's hard when you can't even be social with someone. It's like Leah can't be like nice and hug and hello, how you doing? Do you want a glass of this? Do you want, try to be hostess style. Now Lee is looking at her like, and when, Leah tells the group, hey, we met a new, bride and groom and did it, and her eyes are this color. It's like, of course you noticed her eyes. It's like, it's I would like them to try an exercise called what do you each day write two things that you like about the person that you're with. Okay? Write two things you like about the person. That is something simple enough. And if you do that every day or speak something nice, then it becomes a habit of you saying something nice. I do agree, Casey, with you. I don't think Lee is ready for a relationship. Lee did say that she has been cheated on. The last relationship was, very hostile, if what she is saying. I don't think that she is ready to open up to give anybody a chance. And that's okay, except for in the boundaries of this show. Except for in the boundaries of this show. And there's a way that you could do it. I had no problem with her telling Leah, hey, let's not, reside in the same room. I have no problem, but it's the way she did it. I wish you'd be like, listen, we just met. Still getting used to you. I would like, if we can, this first night, if we could not, be in the same room, blah, blah, blah. If we communicate, we need that. Okay. Leah could have
Mhm.
a better relationship with a brick wall. Daggone it, Tracy.
Yeah, yeah, listen. Tracy's absolutely right. Um, no, the thing is, we actually do say to people, if you are still carrying residue from your previous relationship and it's affecting how you conduct your new relationship in a negative way, go and sit on that bench, go and heal, go and speak to someone, go and have a nice cup of tea, put your feet up on the therapist couch, and let them talk you through what you went through in order for you to recover fully, or develop coping mechanisms or strategies that allow you to not take it out on your new partner. And that's what the experts should be doing with Lee, not letting her slide every week, you know, skate underneath the radar, very light on the criticisms of her. No, her behavior towards Lee was terrible from day one. That rejection on the wedding night, you know, well, you know what? I'd really like it if I go and sleep in one room and you go and sleep somewhere else because my boundaries. Okay, cool. You know what? That rejection would have been it for me, you know. That would have been over. There wouldn't be no um, ski trip and all these different things. It would have been, no, you rejected me.
I think it's the way she said it. I have no problem if we're initially meeting each other. I wish she would have been, meet me halfway. Like, could you sleep on the couch or whatever,
Mm.
or I would take the couch. I have no problem if, because this person is a virtual stranger, but it's also how you navigate this and how you start this relationship is setting it on a track to
Yeah.
either good or bad. But
Right.
Leah hasn't done, much of anything that we have seen,
Hmm.
to warrant this constant attack. She's being nice to other people. Why she's being nice to other people, Lee? Because other people are being kind and nice to her.
Hmm.
How about
Absolutely.
that? How about some kind and nice and
Exactly.
not jump on everything she does?
Exactly. And to expect Leah to be kind of nice to you, Lee, when all you do is cut her down every 5 minutes, but she's supposed to be nice to you while you continually take her down a peg or two at every single opportunity. Manipulative, controlling, very demoralizing behavior.
Tracy, did you mean Leah or did you mean Lee needs to be honest that she's not ready for a relationship? Because I think Lee is not ready, but I think Leah really wants a relationship. I mean, she's and this is not to be derogatory at all. It seems like she's starving for some human emotions. I think she's starving for some human, just to be kind of nice. That's
Yeah.
all. And we're hearing that too, y'all. If y'all see Love is Blind Denver, Edmund and KB. Edmund is saying, just be nice, just be kind, say something nice to me. And I think Leah is like, "Ugh, Dad, gone it. Can I get nice?" And she's at a point where I think she's like, I don't care what you have to say. I'm gonna be nice to people. I'm gonna be me. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can write leave and we can leave.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right. There is there is Lee saying and giving off the vibes that she very much doesn't even like human interaction anymore. But what that turns into is she treats her partner in a very bad way. Um, Trying to control it, like that level of control that she uses against Leah is very concerning to me. The longer that relationship goes on, Leah's going to eventually find herself walking on eggshells. She's not going to be able to be open and vulnerable about her feelings, because she's going to be fearful of Lee crashing out, and telling her to get out. Because let's face it, Lee's very confrontational as well. She's not someone that beats around the bush and will put these put her opinions in a positive and constructive way. No, she wants to shoot from the hip and be as in your face as possible with what she's saying, with no regards for how you're going to receive what she's doing to you. Dangerous, and unfortunately, I don't see this one working either.
Right. I don't either. I don't either. But let us we have a few others to get to, even the lighter ones. Rebecca and Bailey, we didn't see much of them this week, did we? Did you have anything on them? Because I just saw them,
Mm,
on the spa day. Um, you know, they, they told Nellie that Steven's actions, was not on her. That was all I kind of had from Rebecca. I didn't really see much, other than them, jabbing Bailey a little bit that he's in love. I
yeah.
didn't see much from this couple.
No, I mean, Bailey was just pretty much refereeing the situation with Stephen. And I also think, was it Steve? Yeah, he was in Stephen's group. Yeah, he was just refereeing the situation. I think the main thing I saw was when Bailey was giving his opinion to Devani about how he doesn't think the relationship with Julia Rose is going to work. He's like, you know, intimacy, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to work. But as I said to you a few weeks ago, I think Bailey and Rebecca have really turned the corner, because she was really on that feminist vibe as well. Very much um, I'm the boss of me and no one tells me what to do, and, all this other stuff. And then as soon as Pat got laid, um, she softened up. She became a lot more connected to him, and they started to have a bit more fun and enjoy the process a bit more.
Yeah.
But the rhetoric has completely gone. They're not really clashing. Um,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, Bailey was with the Kia, Leah, Leo, Nelly, Grace, John, and Reese group. He wasn't
right,
in the Steven group. But
right.
yes, he was, acting like
Referee.
yeah, he was the referee. I was gonna say Papa Smurf, but referee is certainly much more much more favorable. Okay. Um mm, April and Leo. Okay, and we have one more after them. April and Leo, not April is saying, "Hey, Leo, I need you to get deeper. I need to know more about you." And I find this very interesting, and this is in no way, shaming April or Leo. I find it interesting that the spark is there. We have a wonderful wedding and we lay together real quickly, and then we kind of see past the rose-colored glasses as to things that we need in the relationship that is not being met. I kind of think that she fell in love with his representative, he said, or not love. She really likes his representative, which he said is the extrovert. He feels like he has to put on a show and be his alter ego and, get people to like him. But sometimes he's a really chill, calm guy. But now she wants him to ask questions and be more. Is she having kind of like unrealistic expectations?
Uh, I think no, because he has openly said in their conversation that he does have a representative. It's not the real him, but he uses it in social settings, just like code switching, basically. When he's in a public setting, he's one way, but when he's at home, he's really quiet and introvert and da 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 da. And yeah, so she's like, well, I like the extrovert side of you. I don't like the quiet one because it feels like you're holding back from me. Feels like you're not expressing how you really feel about situations. And yeah, so I at first I thought she was being overly critical, um, and he would go back into his shell, but that's not what happened. It seems like they are getting on quite well. And time will tell for them. They need a bit more time. They're new additions, recent additions to the group. But sometimes I just think people need to just let things go with the flow and stop trying to control the other person's behavior. And, it can work in a detrimental way. It might make them want to not open up more if you keep asking him to open up more. Your sound, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I was muted. I forgot I muted to type. I was like, April, please don't become Anita. Please don't
Mm,
become Anita at all, please. Because it sounded like you don't ask me about me and da da da. Because I do see that they could work. They only have a little bit of tweaking. It's the matchmaking in hot dog and fair food heaven. You
mm,
know, it's like I could see this completely working if maybe she bring her expectations down just a little bit, and if he kind of meets her just a little one step closer to her direction. That's what I think. But yes, I agree with Tracy. I think Leo is scared to mess anything up. He's been single for so long, and he really likes April, and she really likes him, and they are surprised that they like each other so much.
mhm.
I have high hopes for them, and that hurts me because sometimes when I have high hopes, it's like it's a crash and burn later on. Just like Abby and John, like we talked about earlier, I have high hopes for them. Um,
Mm,
maybe unrealistic hopes. I don't know because I don't know these people. But what we see, I have high hopes for April and Leo that this could work.
yeah, I think
So
it could work.
yeah, definitely. So we have one last couple. Let me see what is coming. Agree if she takes a step forward, she takes a step, she takes a step forward, and he takes a step back, they'll be good. Yes, if he takes a step forward, she takes a step back, they definitely can work. So the last couple, okay, y'all, it wasn't intentional, but it's on my list. Leisha and Reese, okay. Leisha and Reese. So they had their honeymoon. Leisha unfortunately tried to pet a stray dog and was nipped on the nose. Um so I was kind of, iffy about she said she had to tell Reese to come to the hospital with her to be with her. She's like, "I'm your wife. You should want to come. We're in a foreign country." And he's probably thinking, "Well, you got production. You know them longer than you know me." I didn't really like it that much. um at all, that she had to tell him. But then I don't like that on the second day you're saying, well, can you see me in your life for the rest of your life? We don't know each other. But I'm glad they had their little boxing date, and she kind of like chillaxed and relaxed. And another one that we are steady rocking knocking the boots, and yet he is out there painting her, and he did say the truth. She has not denied it happened, that she was intoxicated, she barfed on herself, and then she was engaging in conversation with a gentleman elsewhere on the plane for over an hour. Now he ain't say that they steady knocking the boots. But they're giving me the narrative like Leisha is as needy as Nelly. They're giving me that narrative that Leisha is, if you don't hold my hand the way I want it done, forget you or whatever. What are your thoughts on Leisha and Reese? Because I think Reese is a little bit full of himself, just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I think Reese has a personality that looks quite cocky, quite confident, and borderline arrogant. But I don't care what anybody says. You are out with me in public, and the cameras are filming. We're on this show, and we're on a plane, and all that. You decide to get publicly intoxicated. You go past your own limits. Only you know your limits, by the way. You drink till you are a state. Then you throw up on yourself. And I'm supposed to sit there and be attracted to this, by the way. And then you go and find someone else at the back of the plane to go and sit with and talk with for over an hour when you're supposed to be sitting next to me trying to build this relationship. That's three strikes. That's three strikes in very quick succession. You're out of there. That's what that is to me. It doesn't really matter if Reese is confident, arrogant, whatever at this point. If you are prepared to let yourself go like that, you've only known this guy less than 5 minutes. The other couples, we can say 5 minutes because it's been a couple of weeks. But these two, they're new additions to the show. And you are going to publicly embarrass me like that on 3 separate occasions, 3 separate instances. No, don't be coming to me talking about, do you love me and do you want to see me and you together forever? Absolutely not. I'm not going to be putting up with more drunken behavior and, waiting to see what you're going to do next to embarrass me. No. So yeah,
Can
go
we
ahead.
ask the question? I mean,
No.
was it strictly alcohol, or was she on any medication that she got from this hospital visit? Should we ask the question, or are we automatically going to assume she was thoroughly intoxicated?
Well, let's break it down, right? Because we do know she was intoxicated. But if you're on medication and drinking alcohol, then I have to question again, how wise are you? Because you're not supposed to mix alcohol with medication. It can be quite serious, can be quite fatal, let alone other side effects, like you might black out or pass out. So no, I would question your common sense if you were to be on medication, even if it is something to overcome the dog bite or whatever it was. You're not supposed to drink alcohol, especially to the level where you are, paralytic and don't know what the hell you're doing.
That's why it was an either or for me. It was I automatically thought, is it truly, was she drinking? I wanted to put it into context. Was she drinking? Was she sick from food maybe she consumed? But she didn't deny the drinking part of it.
It was drink. That's because it was drink. That's why.
Right. That's why I was, even though I was thinking that at the back of my head, she didn't deny it. But what kind of shocked me was her sitting there at the dinner table passively and allowing everybody to kind of come at her. And I
Because she
was
knows it
like,
was wrong. She knows that is not a good look at all. Right?
and talking to the other person, why are you at the back of the plane talking to somebody else?
Exactly. What about for more than an hour while your husband's sitting there by himself? Nah, she crazy. Imagine if that was reversed. Imagine if Reese got up, went and found a lady at the back of the plane to go and sit next to and chat with. Everybody would be on his neck because they'll be like, why are you chatting up another woman when your wife is sitting right there? How dare you do that? How dare you disrespect her like that? Blah, 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 blah. You're a player. You're a this. You're a that. You're a Casanova. You're a womanizer. So I'm not going to get off Leisha's neck for that, because I don't know how you go up to a stranger and sit there for an hour talking to them in the first place.
Because I can marry a stranger on TV.
Yeah, but you are married to a stranger on TV already. That's why you need to get to know that stranger, not the one at the back of the plane. and if you swap details, oh, where are you flying to then? Oh, where have you just come from then? Oh, I'm going there too. Or I've been there before. Yeah, why don't we arrange that? Why don't we swap numbers? Why don't we keep in contact? Here's my socials. Here's your no. Come on, we all know what it is. So let's call a spade a spade. Even if it is a white spade, let's call it a spade. Right? This lady has taken liberties in the short space of time that they've been together.
Hey, I guess I'm on Reese because, we saw Reese's, level of a little bit of disdain at the wedding when she, did the technique of, to get the nerves off. And he looked like he was thoroughly done, but yet
Yeah.
he is still, all of this. She did barf on herself. She did talk to a stranger. You're doing all this. The whole team is on your side, but you're still sleeping with her. So you're not as disgusted as you want us to believe.
No, she may be a freak in the sheets.
So you're just going to use.
No, there are other aspects to the relationship that she might be better at than others. Obviously,
Mm.
public decorum is not up there. But
Oh
I agree.
my.
I
Oh.
agree. Um, I wouldn't find that type of behavior attractive, so I wouldn't want to sleep with that person.
Because if you think because you already know on day 2, she's saying, how do I fit in your life for 5 years or forever? It's like you already know. That gives me an indication that you're clingy. So I would
Mhm.
definitely not be sleeping with you because you are clingy.
And exactly, and you might get hypnotized, and it'll make you act crazy on top of clingy.
So now I'm like, I'm asking Reese's judgment on this.
You don't have none.
He
Reese,
doesn't.
no. Can't think about relationships like how we as viewers are seeing it. Reese is just there to get what he can while he's there.
Yeah. And get camera time because I'm sure the ladies are all over him.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
telling them, you poor thing, this is the wife you were saddled with. Ugh.
Exactly. And that part is true. You
Yeah.
saddled me with some lady who doesn't know her limits when it comes to alcohol, publicly going to embarrass me. She's going to get drunk. She's going to throw up on herself. Going to go spend time with another dude in my face. No.
I hear you. I
If
hear
it,
you.
like I said, if the roles were reversed, look at if Reese had done all of those things, all of those points that I just mentioned. If it had been Reese doing that, we would be on his neck.
Yes, we definitely would. As I said, I know where my bias to Reese is, and it's from that wedding.
Mm.
The wedding, the honeymoon, where he's like, chillax, pump the brakes. But, you still, knowing what you still sleep with her. Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my thing is, you're part of the problem because you're giving her mixed messages. You're giving her mixed messages. It could be, yeah, let's chill, let's see how this progresses, whatever. But you're giving her, mixed messages. Completely. Completely. I'm, but again, I totally admit that I am projecting.
Mm. Well,
Because we
well,
on this show, we are not, knocking the boots right away at all. At all.
well, Leisha is projectile hurling, and
Oh, wait a minute. Daggone it. Daggone it. Life is reality. Woo! The projectile hurling. Golly. I get, you know what? The thing is, I guess I have more sympathy for her because I feel at the beginning she was humanized for me.
Mm.
Because when she said she got up there and seeing Reese and how handsome he looked, she got all nervous in this. And,
Mhm.
I'm very much, yes, she had, she couldn't even read the cue card or look at him. And then she's like,
Mhm.
"Ugh," and, had a moment where she had to kind of release all the, anxiety or whatever she's going through. I felt like it humanized her for me. Because
Mm.
I would do that. I would totally be like, ugh, and just, say it out loud to get something, so I could just be like, okay, I'm back to me, and I could read now. And for
Right.
him to look at her, to have a very human moment, to be like, ugh.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, this is done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can take that point on board. For her, she was a bit overwhelmed because of how attractive she was to him, and the situation, the scenario, the scene. They're at a wedding in front of friends and family doing this. You can understand that.
Yeah,
But also, you don't drink to calm your nerves.
right,
I suspect that may be why she drank
right.
to the level that she did. Just talk to your partner. If you if you if you don't think you have the wherewithal to have a calm, mild mannered conversation about something, wait until the appropriate time and then do it. Everything
Right.
doesn't have to happen at one time. But again, the answer is never found at the bottom of the bottle. So she needs to not do that again.
I hope they don't give them the item of, you know, ranking people by order of good looks. I hope they don't get that one, because I think he would completely devastate her with that.
Let's be fair. There are quite a few couples where that kind of question would rip them apart
Yeah,
because we have some very insecure people and some very unstable couples on there.
yeah, yeah. We do. Anything else, Felicia and Reese? You done said a lot though.
No, I said my piece on Lisha and Reese.
So y'all, that is, we covered all the couples, y'all, including those who left. I mean, that was a lot.
Hmm. We got through quite quickly.
Because it's 11 couples. We got through in 2 hours. I hope y'all will show your appreciation by liking the live. Okay, please support Life is Reality on social media. Tell them where they can find you, Life is Reality.
You can find me on Instagram on JRX TV. You can also find me on YouTube on Life is Reality. And on TikTok, I am there as JRX TV too. So yeah, definitely leave some comments. Give us your feedback on the show. Remember, this is just solely our opinions. As you can see down below, it's for entertainment purposes only. So leave your opinions, comments, feedback, like, and more importantly, subscribe. Doesn't cost a dime. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you next time.
Yeah, we'll be here next week. I'll be on later on today for a segment that I created here called Unsolicited Advice. It's where we give the advice that the internet is asking for. People ask the internet and we will give our advice. Today's show, we have a lady asking how should she handle it that her boyfriend smacked his ex's bootay right there in front of her. So we will be covering that with a few more. And in members, Member Lives is on Monday at 8 p.m. EST, and we cover, conversations over 18. So if you're not over 18, don't be here on a Monday at 8 in my membership, please. Okay? And in that one, we have some spicy talks, including people of Walmart. A man was arrested for stealing adult toys in Walmart. And I have the arrest report and the inventory of all that he stole. So we will be going through that list and seeing exactly what is available for purchase at Walmart. Okay. But y'all, thank you so much for joining us here. I hope to see you later, if not in Members Live. There's tons of stuff coming up this week on this channel, including Reel It In. We're covering Mindhunter on Netflix, season 2, which covers the Atlanta child unalivings. They do a wonderful job of that historical time in Atlanta. And every week in Reel It In, we will talk about a movie or a short series that we could kind of watch over a week's time and decide what we're going to do during Halloween, because one of my subscribers loves slasher films. We will be covering those as well. So thank you all so much. Please make sure you are subscribed. Hit that like. It is all free 99. And we would, love to see you back here next week. And just leave us comments below. We do interact in the comments and we really do appreciate it. And as always, I will see you on the next one.